back
We're back
on location today
on location today, man.
on the beaches of Mexico,
Sonora,
drinking a little Mexican beer,
right here. This right here.
little Carta Blanca. I haven't
Carta
had these in
Blanca.
a long time, dude. Well, except for last night. But
Before that time. Yeah, before that time. How did you first have these, or when did you have these?
I don't remember, but I think it was when we used to go to Mexico visit family
Oh, okay.
at Michoacan.
You were like, what, 15?
Yeah, sometime back then.
That's a long time ago,
Yeah,
man.
it was a while ago.
Definitely. So, we wanted to, we had this little trip planned, and I like...
Thanks to your friends.
Yes, exactly.
They have a spot, a nice spot here.
Exactly. Thank you very
And
much for
we're
our
enjoying
friends.
it.
Good stuff. This is kind of like a little private kind of... is it a resort? Kind
Of sorts.
Yeah, kind of.
Resort
they
of sorts.
they own the house outright, so investment.
So anyway, yeah, we're having a good time this
Yeah.
weekend out here. It's spring break.
Yes. So it's spring break out here, so
We
a lot
didn't
of
calculate it, but yeah, it just coincidentally happened.
Yeah, we didn't expect that to
So,
happen. Huh?
You know that what's it called? Tinder.
Mhm.
They added this new feature where if you plan to go to a certain spot for spring break, like all the college students,
Get outta here.
They can in advance, like see who's
Start
gonna be there.
swiping.
Start swiping right.
Oh.
So when
Damn, I
they
should've done
arrive
that.
there, they have everything already waiting for them.
They have a
Or
play date.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, it's crazy because we went to the downtown area, and everyone's just having a good time, and everyone's 18, 19 years old, or that college, between 18 to 20, whatever years old, and you can see these people with daddy's truck and daddy's cars and monies and stuff. And I said a joke. I was like, man, I can't wait to have kids or stepkids so I can send them out and to these spring break destinations and have them spend my money gladly.
Yeah, exactly.
Daddy out there working hard in his corporate job, and little Sally out here.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Man.
Nothing wrong with that.
We're just jealous because we didn't get
No, but I do it on my time, on my dime.
Yeah. It's all good.
Definitely.
Last week we didn't record because you were getting ready for your sister's wedding.
I was.
Congratulations, Andrew.
Congratulations, guys.
We hope we wish the best for you too.
Yeah.
So we started getting thinking about, we were talking about marriage because of that.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to do that, as since we have a lot of experience in that area.
Yes, we've been happily never married for the last 28 years of my life, and however long he hasn't been married for, and I'm making no regrets, no apologies about it. Have no regrets so far. It's again, this is my biased opinion, but I think I'm having a great ass time in my life. I'm enjoying it, doing awesome things, and kids and family is not in the picture. Marriage is not in the picture anytime soon.
And nothing against marriage, because
not.
we have several friends who are married. Like you have yours, and
Yeah.
I have mine, and we wish them the best.
Absolutely.
Of course, but we just have a different view on marriage, just from what we see among our friends and statistics that show us 50% of marriages end in divorce. And of course, everyone thinks that that's not gonna be them, right?
Yeah, well, everyone's willing to take the chance, right? Until they're on the losing end of it. Definitely keeping divorce lawyers working hard.
Right. So I think that the statistic is dropping, but primarily because less people are getting married. They're finally figuring it out. And I just don't want to be part of that statistic, dude.
Dude, it's a sad one. It's a sad one. It's a stressful one. It's we read an article, and someone put it as it being like being in a recession, right? Through it all, because
an article,
because I think he goes to explain that he doesn't necessarily want to get divorced because it's so expensive, but keeping up with like the affairs him and his wife are doing are a little bit more expensive. Also, they no longer live together. He has his own place, and I think they went into the actual mathematics and calculations of what it costs the guy to travel, take women out, and do all that stuff. So now he's balancing, trying to still obviously pay the bills and stuff like that, whatever they were doing. On top of that, adding all of the other things that he's extracurricular activities he's doing outside the marriage.
Right. Like we talked about it, I think marriage is somewhat outdated, like the concept of it, just because like the whole "till death do us part." That happened in a time where people live only to like their 40s.
Yes.
So it was a short period of time where they're married, some 20 years or so. Now we are living a lot longer than that, so it's kind of hard, to think of being with that same person for 50 plus years.
Yeah, and especially the time. So this is the thing. I think I don't know the exact numbers, but I know if you get married before 25, your divorce rate is severely higher.
Yeah,
And the older you get, so the older you get and you tend to get married, I think in your 30s, the odds are a little bit on your favor at that point. But then there's reasons for that. Um, like the people that get married out of high school sweethearts, some of them do make it and it's great and it works and it happens and that's fantastic. Cheers for you guys. But most likely than not, it's not going to work out. And because people grow apart.
no, but like one of the things about getting young in your early 20s or even teens,
Getting
which
married?
is crazy. Yeah, I mean, getting married.
Getting young. Getting married, yeah.
Getting married is that like our frontal cortex doesn't fully develop till we're around 25. Yeah, so that means that we don't necessarily make the best decisions before that, and it's clear. I mean, sometimes we still don't make the best decisions, right? And we're already old as
older, yeah, older than a lot of these kids out here having a good time.
so just the fact that you're mentally not fully developed. It's why take the chances before that. And again, nothing against marriage in general, like people who get married, because again, we wish them best, but at least wait and think about it thoroughly till like your late 20s or early 30s if you're gonna do it. That's my advice to any young person thinking of getting married.
Well, this is the thing though too. You gotta understand. Ask yourself this question: 5 years ago, did you have the same similar interests and values and stuff like that you probably have today? Probably not, right? Those have slightly shifted, if not drastically shifted. At least they have for me. 5 years ago, I was 23. I definitely thought a lot different than I do today. I'm more at peace with certain things, and I'm realizing that I want to do certain things, and there's obviously certain values and stuff that I am starting to shift in my personal life. Whether it's gonna benefit me, I hope so. But I'm making no apologies, and if other people don't want me to live that way, or they don't think that's the right thing to do. So you think about that. You're young. You're in love. You're in this thing, passionate lust, right? And all of a sudden, your wife is looking nice, nice 22-year-old body. He's always gonna look nice, right? Not shaming here anybody or anything like that. He's probably looking pretty decent because I have been, these psychologists put it like that, right? So you're at your primal state of reproducing, the way you're gonna look. You hold value in the mating scene, right? In the dating scene, right? There's value there. So what happens if you, as a woman, surpass him? You guys are both in college, doing the same thing. So you see potential in the man. You see potential in what he's going to become, right? But what if he doesn't? And I'm going to use ourselves as an example. I'm not going to say the woman, right? Because I'm trying to be fair here. So he doesn't. He flunks in life. He just can't hold a job. He just doesn't know what he's doing, and all of a sudden he's having a midlife crisis and doesn't know what he's doing. But you've become this professional or whatever you've done, and you feel like you're succeeding in life, and you're just kind of carrying baggage around. Now, you're married, but you should, in my opinion, you shouldn't have to drag onto something just because of marriage, right? You outgrew the guy. Now, there's also a statistic that says that more highly intellectual women or people that have a little bit more education or smarter, it's harder for them to become married or to get married because of, you don't want to date someone who you feel like is dumb, right?
There's another fact to consider from a biological standpoint is that, when women are pleasured when they have orgasms,
right,
they release oxytocin.
That's beautiful.
Which makes them fall in love with the person they're with.
Yes.
So imagine you're 20 and this happens and you fall for a guy because of this biological, chemical reaction that's going on in your head. Then again, it's lust. It's not really,
what's love? Got to do. But yeah, keep going on that. I think that's cheers to that. Cheers to that. What's love? But you're 100% right? There's this chemical that goes off in your head. It tells you you're in love. You feel a certain way about your partner.
And a lot of people,
and guys don't.
Right. They first of all, they confuse lust with love, but then secondly, what was I gonna say?
Lust with love.
A lot of the time people just think they're gonna end up alone if they don't jump into that commitment when in their early 20s. Again, they're not thinking things thoroughly.
Listen, guys.
So they do that.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you something from experience. Okay, it gets better. It gets better. Trust me. The quality of people, the things you can do, it gets much better. Obviously, if you're still in that scene and certain things, people are not as mature. But trust me, 5 years and you hope people, naturally progress in maturity, it's gonna get better. Trust me, I'm 20 years old. It's a beautiful thing. I'm meeting people. They're awesome, both on the male and female side of things. Now I'm being a little bit more social, not sexually on with with males. I like women.
Hey, I don't judge.
I do. I judge me. And but anyway, so yeah, it only gets better. So no, when you say that, I just don't want to be left behind, and then the whole society view on the quote unquote biological clock. Oh, you got to
Well, that is definitely a force that takes place, but that's already in your 30s. I mean, girls in their 20s aren't necessarily thinking about having kids.
No,
for the most part, they have kids because
they miss. I think they miss. How do you say they? Oh, damn. What's up, Def? They misconstrued that. They think that they need to start pumping kids out as soon as they can because that's just kind of what, people get married. Oh, when are the kids coming, right? Or when are you going to start a family, right? Because I have friends and family who have recently been married, and that's the next question. It's like the next level thing. Well, like, yo, hold up. Let us get financially situated, right? First, before we go off and do all this crazy stuff and have kids and just add to the stress because, yeah, you might think that living with somebody, it's not a big deal, but it is. Because there's certain things that are going to piss you off and it's going to aggravate you, and it is going to be tough to get accustomed to these people. Now, you add a kid, and then you get lost in the sauce, and then everything just kind of goes kaboom.
All right. And don't get us wrong, we're not like marriage counselors or anything like that.
We might be.
A friend just told us like, "What are you guys talking about marriage? You guys ain't even married." Like, well, we're not, but we do have a lot of friends who are married, and they, a lot of the times, tell us the reality of marriage.
Yes.
And like when I hear it from time after time from different friends, and same with you, it's not something that it becomes that appealing anymore.
Absolutely not. I don't need to be hit by a bus, like you said, to know that it hurts or I could die. Right? It's because of all these other situations. There's only really two core items or two core reasons why people get married. And this is obviously, you guys can look this up, is financial situations and fidelity, right? And both of them are linked, 100%.
Well, there's a lot more that we can go into in that respect.
And we will,
because
going forward.
There's just a lot of psychological, biological stuff going on that we are not even aware of. We just react, so much for free will, But there is that reality. A lot of it is, just biological. We like we were saying earlier, we don't want to be alone, so we think that marriage is a solution. A lot of young kids that get married in their early 20s. But the thing is, again, once you mature enough to 25 plus, you realize that first of all, you're not going to end up alone unless you choose to.
There's always cats out there, guys.
Yeah, and secondly, you learn to enjoy things without having being committed to someone who is or is not the best person to be committed to.
Dude, 100%. There's so many people. You hear so many people, but time invested in them. Yeah, that's just a coward's, excuse in my opinion.
Right. The other thing I hear too, like, I wasted my time these couple years that we dated. I'm like, well, if you learned something from that relationship,
then it wasn't a waste.
It wasn't a waste of time. It's only if you don't learn anything and you're gonna continue doing your stupid same, behavior, then yeah, okay, it was definitely a waste of time. But then that probably is the rest of your life as well if you're not learning from your mistakes or from your experiences. So to me, like, when I date someone for however long a period of time, I try to learn from it.
Right.
Not just that from that person, but just from the situation itself. And I like to think that I'm a better person because of it. But sometimes, unfortunately, I keep hearing that it was a waste of time. I'm like, well.
Well, this is what I always tell people.
for you.
Right, for you, because I learned from it. So anything in life now, I try to look. I'm trying. I'm a little bit more of the optimist in this duo, but I like to look at things as successfully failing because I have to take the chance and I understand the risk. And if you don't do that, then you won't know. But I call it successfully failing because I try to learn from everything. Try to learn from everything, every little thing, especially in relationships. There's certain qualities and virtues that people have that you fall in love with, but then they have those two, three other things that, like, man, can I really live with this for the rest of my life? And a lot of the times we don't check ourselves and we don't ask ourselves those hard questions because we do care about that person and we do love them. And at the end of the day, people are who they are. They don't change. People are not going to change unless they want to change for themselves. That is the
Right.
core. That is the core of it. And you cannot make anybody change. If he is who he is, girl, let him be. That's what he's gonna do. Now, if you can
He's
put
gonna
up,
do that
regardless.
regardless. Maybe
Yes.
he'll act differently in front of you because
But
you
then
don't
again,
like
do you
it.
want somebody faking? That's the thing. Do you want somebody else? I'm getting passionate now. Do you want somebody else faking themselves in front of you? Is that
Right.
what you want? You're
So
gonna push them away.
and it goes back to like the whole why we lie as well. We lie because we lie to our friends and our families because we don't want to hurt their feelings. If they accepted us for who we are, then there would be no reason to lie, right?
100%.
So if you have like a conservative, either spouse or parents, that you don't necessarily agree with what they're saying, you're gonna do it behind their backs,
Right.
and you're still, yeah, again, you're still gonna do it. Now you're just gonna keep it from them. So if
Right.
you're your spouse or your girlfriend, just know that that's gonna happen, or your boyfriend, whoever
Right.
it is, because we're not gonna change just because someone else expects us to change. Again, like you're saying, we're only change for ourselves if we choose to, and that it's even hard in itself too.
100%.
So
So you can't even expect if it's hard if it's hard enough for the person to do it. How do you expect them to do it for you?
and don't expect
Don't
anyone to
expectations.
change for you
Some girl wants to be
because you're
treated.
fooling yourself.
100%. Some of these girls want to get treated like princesses and they're needy and stuff like that, but they don't even give blowjobs. And it's like, come on.
Now that's a waste of time.
That's a hell of a waste of time right there.
But
Who the hell
anyway,
wants that?
if
But
you are
yeah.
gonna, if you do decide to get married, we've talked about prenups, and a lot of the times when people hear us talk about that, they kind of cringe. You're like, oh, I would never do that.
It's the P word.
I love my significant other. I'm not gonna do that. But the thing is that all these other 50% of people who are getting divorced, they also thought the same thing. They also thought that they loved and they're gonna be forever and ever and live in happily ever after with two and a half children and a white picket fence and a dog, uh, and then it just doesn't turn out that way. So again, a prenup is just an insurance of sorts
Yeah.
in case the other person changes for the worse or you change for the worse because we also sometimes screw up.
If I think if you're going into the marriage and whatever and you decide to get married and you treat it as a responsible thing and the responsible thing to do would be getting a prenup. I think that would be for
See,
both
yeah.
parties. That's
And I've talked
responsible.
to
That's responsible.
I've talked to friends about it, and initially, they resist the idea when we first start talking about it. Like, nah, I would never do that. But then they start hearing the logic, and they change their opinion about it, but they still wouldn't. They still won't do it. Like if they had to, they still wouldn't. So I mean, that's
Stop being
the
pussies.
no, but that's the like hard part to understand about people. Sometimes they know what's best, what they should do. Well, we know what's best, what we should do, but yet because we're brought up in a certain way, we're just either afraid or that's not going to happen to us, or any number of reasons that we give ourselves as excuses. So
So it's crazy because I asked one of my friends right before he was gonna get married, or we were at a bar having a drink or whatever right before his wedding or close to it, and I asked him, I was like, hey man, this is probably not my place to say this, but you are a good friend, and I know you're not gonna take it the wrong way. Um, do you see that not necessarily that a divorce is that I want them to get divorced, but divorce? He's like, nope, it's not gonna happen. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of was like, and he was so sure of himself, and a lot of us are. And
Yeah.
that's how we go into it. So it's 100% understandable that why we don't want to take certain precautions, certain measures to protect ourselves going forward in case of a disaster. I understand that. But if you're a logical person, or ourselves, we try to be as logical as we can, we're still going to put those safety uh, boundaries and those insurances in everything. Listen, even certainty comes with a little bit of uncertainty, 100%. So we can't totally say that nothing can happen, because you don't know this person 2 days from now. You don't know this person 5 years from now. So you
We're not
just
even the same person on a given day. We
yeah.
wake up all grumpy in the morning, like I need my coffee before I can talk to anyone.
And this is the thing, though. Like, just from different articles that I've read on infidelity, it doesn't start as, oh God, I'm gonna wake up today and I'm gonna cheat on my wife, or I'm gonna cheat on my
That's
husband.
not
It
what your
does.
tweets say.
Yes, my tweets are amazing. Follow me on Twitter, guys. But anyways,
Link on the bottom.
link at the bottom, yes, for both of us. So anyways, I think it was time we let them know our social media, right? So anyways, 100%, like, excuse me, we don't wake up with this thought of wanting to doom a marriage, especially if there's kids involved. Now you're starting to think for 2, 3 other individuals. Now this is a little bit bigger of an issue if it were to go down like that. But nobody wants that, and it's 100%. What you were saying is everyone resists it, though, but it's a real possibility that this could happen.
Right, and
And
again, it's an insurance. It's not necessarily that you're gonna you get divorced or you're already with the thought, because I do hear that, like, oh, if you're going with that initial thought in mind, it's already guaranteed doom. Like it's not gonna work out. But no, it's not. I mean, I get insurance for my car not because I have the mentality that I'm gonna get hit by a car or hit a car. I get it just in case something happens, because life is unexpected. Unexpected.
I mean, yeah.
Things happen unexpectedly
Look,
in
look what
life.
happened earlier 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, I have an injury, but that was your fault.
It was my fault.
You
Being
son
a
of a bitch.
jackass. So yeah. So anyways, I'm sorry, Art. I feel bad about that. But anyways, and then now, realistically speaking, we've grown in an age where social media is
Oh
such a
yes.
big part of everything we do. I think a very high percentage of all infidelity or affairs start on social media nowadays. Is what they're saying. Before, it used to be at the bar, right? Okay. And
Now
then
it's a lot easier.
it's so much
And
easier
like
to
going
send
back
that
to what
DM.
Tom Likas used to say, yeah, Facebook back in the day when he had a show, but now like Snapchat, you send a snap, that thing's gonna delete, once the person opens it. No one's ever gonna find out about it. Well, they are way, but like so it's just way too easy. Especially if you're an attractive woman, you're gonna get
Attention.
unsolicited attention from people on social media, and so at the end of the day, like it comes down to you if you're gonna act on it. But if your significant other, your guy, it's not behaving the way you expect, guess what? You're gonna be more tempted to respond to that Snapchat and
And seek the attention. Yeah, of course. Well,
take
think
one of
about
those
it. No.
sexy pictures.
Yeah, send sexy pictures. Yeah, all these sextings and snap selfies or whatever you guys be sending out. But realistically speaking, what are you doing at the core of it all? When all you do is posting selfies or you're posting certain things like that, you're advertising yourself. Whether you want to think about it or not, you want the attention. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Every single time I post up a selfie is because guess what? I'm feeling myself and I want to do it and I want people to see me. That's why I'm doing it. I'll admit to that. If you guys don't want to go ahead and not admit to that, that's fine. But I am seeking the attention. And it does feel good when somebody's like, hey, you're a good looking guy. Or hey, this and that. It makes us feel good. We get that little nice thing going in our head, a little chemical. I'm like, oh, damn. So you start feeling good about yourself, and it turns a good day into a better day at times. So what I'm saying is yes. So we do that. And then all of a sudden now we have options, because I guarantee a lot of these women have these DMs that they haven't opened. And as soon as, I'm not saying they do this, but they could do this. As soon as their man's not acting right, guess what?
And we've seen it. We've seen it with people we know. Yeah.
Yes.
So we don't cheat because we are not in a committed relationship. But all these other people who are, guess we know many of them. And again, it's human nature. We're flawed that way. So like to expect perfection from the other person, it's never going to happen. And sometimes we screw up. So again, if you do plan to get married, especially you younger people in your 20s, think about it thoroughly. And last resort, get a prenup if you're gonna do it. I know you probably won't because
Right.
people are afraid to make rational decisions like that. But I would another thing about prenups too that people say like, well, I don't have any assets. I'm like, well, are you planning to be
A loser forever? Yeah.
So I mean, if you are, then okay, you don't need a prenup. But if
Also,
you are trying to succeed in life, whatever that is, then it just makes sense again.
Well, there is a positive way to look at it. You know why divorce is so expensive?
Because they're worth it.
Because it's worth it. So obviously, people are getting divorced out there. 50% of people still getting divorced because it's worth it, and they've gone tired of their.
This is the thing. The other thing that I've also noticed from people like friends who are married is that sometimes they're not even necessarily happy with their spouse, but they're just kind of like going by just because now they're in that commitment. They signed the papers, and it's just easier to stay. Maybe it's not miserable yet, but they also put up with it because just because it's a lot easier than having to
go through the public
especially
shame.
If you don't have especially if you don't have the cash to pay for it.
Yeah, no, and absolutely, it's hard, and there's a lot of unhappy marriages out there because of that. Especially if you're part of a social group, or you're part of a religious group, or anything like that, or you're part of a different kind of collective group of people that typically frown upon that. No, you got to make it work, or whatever reason. Yeah, it's gonna. You don't want to put yourself out in public scrutiny, or have the spectacle, the show of a divorce, and guess who keeps what? Guess who keeps the friends? Who keeps the dog? And I get it, but if it does get to that point, just think about it. It's momentarily, nothing lasts forever, and go ahead and just do it, and be a better person. Because if you feel like that is no longer working for you, I'm not saying get divorced, but if that is the last thing, the last resort, and everything is not going to change, go ahead and do it for the better of you.
Just make sure you don't have kids to try to salvage the marriage, because that's just the stupidest mistake you can do.
That is true, man.
Not only that, because now you're really tied up to that person forever. But children cost a lot of money. Last estimates I remember reading about were like $250,000 to raise a child, till they're 18. That's that's one child. You have a couple kids, that's already $500,000. You go to 4 kids, that's $1 million. I have a lot of better ideas to spend, $250,000 or $1 million.
What if you take that same $250,000 and you flip it, and you make it $500,000?
You flip it like Donald Trump?
Like Donald Trump.
Yeah, then you be a billionaire.
You'll be a good-ass billionaire. But I guess that's kind of where we want to wrap up the show here. And the moral of the whole thing is, think about getting married, guys. It's a beautiful thing.
Don't rush into it. That's all. Like, that would be my strongest advice. If you are going to, just don't rush it. Think it thoroughly. Again, don't do it before you're 25. Do it after. If you think it thoroughly, you're already financially at a better stage. Then yeah, by all means, do what you got to do. But and then there was that other aspect right before the other thing. Guys who have higher testosterone tend to cheat more.
Yeah.
So think about that, girls.
Yeah. Don't. So look, if you like him because you're attracted to the same reasons that you're attracted for certain reasons, guess what? Other girls are attracted to him for those same reasons. Okay. So be careful. There is a way to test testosterone. We'll in the next episode or so, we'll teach you ladies. So next time you guys are on the date and you guys see these signs, just be warned and thank us later.
It comes down to the hands.
But
anyway.
So we're gonna depart from Puerto Peñasco, Sonora.
We're gonna go do some a little. What are we doing? Sailing or?
Are we doing a little bit of booze cruise?
Booze cruise.
And gonna have a good time. Gonna enjoy the last day or so here. So
yeah. So anyway, talk to you guys till next time.
Till next time. Peace out.